This is the Farms.com soybean report brought to you by Dow Seeds. Dow Seeds, leaders in customer-first technology.
Hi, I'm Loucas with Dow Seeds. I'm one of our agronomists in the southwestern Ontario. We're here to talk about scouting for soybean diseases in your soybean fields later on in the season, particularly the stem diseases. Albert Tenuta with Omafra's put together a good chart that you can just kind of walk yourself through if you have diseases. So we're here in one of our later season varieties. It's got some white mold in it. We know that we have all of our disease ratings in our seed guide that you can always look up before you plant. But a good thing to look for, if you start to see there's some green plants in here, we have some dead plants. You can see the tops are starting to wilt on them. That's when you want to go in and start looking for things. So you can pull a plant out of your field. This one here has a brown lesion on the stem, and there's a nice chart that Omafra's put together that you can go through and reference things. Your main criteria is whether or not there are external symptoms on your stem or no external symptoms. So in this case, we have a brown lesion here. When we break it apart, I've already cut it. This stem is fairly thick. You can use a knife. Sometimes if they're not so thick, you can use your fingernails. And we can see that we definitely have a brown lesion in here with some brown spots. So I'm not going to go through every step on the chart, but you can easily follow the steps on there, and you just follow down if you have a brown lesion. Is it at the soil level? Is it up on the stem of the plant? And then it'll direct you to the disease that it is. So this one is stem canker. It's not at the base of the plant, it's up in the main part of the stem, and it's got a brown lesion inside. So that's straight what the chart was saying. We know a lot of times this year you'll start to see some white mold in your soybeans. So we have a white mold stem here. It's been dry, so a lot of the hyphae isn't as white and fluffy as it normally is. Usually you can see white fluffy hyphae in your field, in your plants, growing on the outside of the stem. But here you can see definitely some white fuzzies in the middle of the stem, and that's what white mold looks like in your stem. You also sometimes find the little black sclerotia in the stem as well, and that's what overwinters in your soil. So some other things, I'll just kind of walk you through some of the main diseases we have here in southern Ontario. If you're on the southern side of, I guess, kind of the 401, we're starting to see some sudden death syndrome. It's a fungal disease that causes that, and it has some yellow in between the veins and the leaves. It turns yellow and then brown. It often comes when you have soybean cyst nematode in your soil. So that's some of the ones that don't have any external symptoms on the leaves until you start to see those, or on the stems until you start to see those leaf symptoms. And I guess the two main ones for me are Phytophthora, some stem canker. Not huge yield. Phytophthora will cause you some yield loss towards the end of the season. Stem canker doesn't look very nice, but it's not going to have a huge impact on your yield. And white mold is probably the key one in Ontario. It's the main yield robber on your plants. This year hasn't been too bad, but we have started to see it. So hopefully this was kind of a general overview on how you can scout for diseases in your field. You really need to get out and walk into your field and have a look at your beans and get right down in the canopy and have a look at those stems to have a good look at your plants. And if there's ever any questions you have, you can always either take a picture and you can email or text us your pictures. You can give us a call if you have problems. We'll be happy to come out and look at your fields. I'm an agronomist. We also have territory sales reps. Any of us can come out and help you diagnose some problems.
This has been the Farms.com soybean report brought to you by Dow Seeds. Dow Seeds, leaders in customer-first technology.